Do girls actually like bad boys?
I will be explaining the exact steps you need to follow in order to seduce a beautiful woman.
And you'll also discover the best way to get her back.
Your success with a woman is ultimately dependent on whether you can escalate your relationship.
The way we judge whether or not you have great taste is by looking at your fashion.
Hi, I'm Lucy. I'm a dating consultant at provenattraction.com. In this video from the How to Get a Model Looking Girlfriend series, we're going to look at first impressions. After watching this video, you will learn step by step how to create a first impression that generates instant attraction. In most areas of life, generating a good first impression is crucial for success. Evolution tells us that the human brain is wired to make quick judgments about the people we meet. Our ancestors, of course, weren't able to whip out an iPad and Google whether a new acquaintance would be a friend or enemy, which could very well mean the difference between life and death. So our brains developed the amazing ability to access whether we like or dislike a person within the first few seconds of meeting them. Bear in mind that the same process is at play when it comes to attracting a beautiful woman. If her first impression of you is wrong, she will reject the possibility of attraction developing between you. Essentially, you'll be off her radar. According to Darwin, evolution is all about sexual selection. Survival of the species rests on the ability to attract a mate, and so the initial judgments we make about members of the opposite sex are all the more significant. So what happens if it goes wrong and you make a bad first impression on a woman you're trying to attract? Well, you're left fighting an uphill battle. You try to make conversation, but she just gives one-word answers. You invite her for a drink and she tells you she's not thirsty. You try to get her number, but she makes up some excuse about her switching to a new number and not knowing what it is. In other words, you're stuck. However, if you understand how to create a good first impression, you'll prompt her to see you as someone she might become attracted to. Even if later on you forget to ask a clever question, even if you don't get the chance to tell her something interesting about yourself, even if you miss the moment to test out your teasing and move into more playful territory, you'll still have set the foundations for something that could lead to attraction. The marvellous minutes of your first meeting will remain in her mind, and she'll have formed a positive image, or as psychologists call it, a good mental representation of you. So, how can you ensure that you make a fantastic first impression on us beautiful girls? Research has shown that appearance makes up a major part of first impressions, so your body language and the way you're dressed needs to be spot on. To learn more about how to present yourself perfectly, avoid bad body language and Simon Cowell trouser faux pas, watch the body language and fashion videos in this series. The rest of building a great first impression is to do with how you express yourself. To get this right, you need to know the 5 key areas we call S, A, Q, S and L. The first S stands for state of mind. Make sure you're in a positive, cheerful state of mind. Don't forget that your energy rubs off on other people. So if you're feeling negative, the chances are that whoever you're interacting with is going to start feeling that way too. Women are very perceptive and can quickly tell the difference between a guy who's in a good mood and a guy who's not. Help her out by making sure you smile. No girl wants to be with a guy who has a pessimistic outlook on life. From the evolutionary point of view, a positive attitude is a very adaptive trait, so it ticks those boxes hardwired into the human brain. A stands for answering. The key to attraction isn't so much about the questions you ask, but the answers you give to the girl's questions. When a girl asks you a question, it shows that she's interested in knowing something about you. Well, this is a good sign, so you should always be ready to take the opportunity to describe yourself in the most attractive and appealing way possible. Lots of guys make the mistake of giving typical or boring answers that fail to create an impact. However, if you'd like to make a positive first impression and bring this attractive woman into your life, then it's important you know how to stand out from the crowd. I had a student who worked as a financial accountant advising some of the large FTSE 100 companies. But every time a girl asked him, "What do you do?" I would watch him say, "I'm an accountant." Yawn! This is a typical answer that leaves no impact whatsoever. It doesn't develop any intrigue and suggests that he's the sort of guy who doesn't really know how to interact and share interests with women. After he went through our transformation course, he developed a new response that always got the girls interested. Now, he says, Well, let's just say I'm the guy in the background who helps to make sure that some of the big companies out there stay on top. Not only does his new response create intrigue, prompting girls to ask him lots of questions to get to the bottom of what he does, it shows he knows how to talk to women in a way that keeps the conversation interesting and alive. Take a tip from him. Work out your own responses to the questions a woman might ask you, and you'll be so stocked with ready answers, you could rival Yahoo. Now that you know how to answer a lady's questions in a way that leaves her feeling curious about you, it's time to look at how you can ask great questions too. Q stands for questioning. Women appreciate men who can create a positive vibe through interesting conversation. If you've just met a girl you are attracted to, avoid asking dull questions like, what's your job? What's the weather like in your country? What did you study at university? And so on. Instead, try to think of questions that are A, going to get her to open up to you more, and B, bring up interesting topics of conversation. For example, are you going to get up to anything fun this summer? It's a great one for starters. What was the most favourite place you ever visited? Creates a positive topic. How do you find the guys in London compared to the guys in Sydney is a bit cheeky and playful, and what do you enjoy doing in your spare time? Could lead to common ground. These kinds of questions will help to trigger positive emotions, and that will increase the likelihood of her feeling positive about your first meeting and more receptive to taking things further. At this stage in the game, your thought process will be becoming more complex, as you not only concentrate on what you're saying, but also how you're coming across. This brings us to the next S, which stands for sociability. Whether you realise it or not, the women you're talking to are constantly assessing you, trying to figure out whether you have the right qualities. Do you show leadership traits? Is your communication fluent? Are you good at resolving difficult situations? Are you smart enough to be the best at what you do? And so on. Even when you're not in a conversation with a woman, she remains acutely aware of how you're interacting with other people. Think about how when you're in a nightclub, you quickly form an impression of everyone in the bar, categorising them as the fun fella or the awkward dude in the corner with a beer, or the shy guy or the cool chap with lots of friends, despite having never seen them or talked to them before. It's the same with a woman. Even if you're just in the corner of her eyes, she'll judge your sociability, and that'll form part of her mental representation of you. Now that you know this, you can use every situation to show her your best quality. Next time she invites you out with her friends, don't just speak to her, but show her your communication skills by connecting with them too. Make them laugh, show your problem-solving skills by giving smart solutions to their professional or personal worries. Show your leadership capabilities by starting party games or initiating a drinking round. Always be prepared to make an effort to shine, as this will get her to see why you're a great catch. That's nearly all the parts of the first impression puzzle. Now let's take a look at the final piece, L, which stands for lifestyle. To really get a girl interested in you, you must mention aspects about your lifestyle that could add value to her life. A woman is more likely to want a second date or to see you again if she feels that you can complement or enhance her life. So it's important that when you're in an interaction with a girl, you listen very carefully to what she's interested in, as these are all clues you can use to find common ground and impress her. Once you know more about what she's like and what she's interested in, you can mention relevant aspects about your lifestyle that she will likely to want to be involved in. For example, imagine you're talking with a woman who loves skiing, but doesn't really get the chance to do it much, as she's in the UK most of the time. If you ski yourself or know about a cool place to go skiing, you can say something like, a friend of mine has a chalet in a great part of Switzerland, so a group of us plan to go there this winter, drink wine and ski all day. You're invited. By saying this, you're not only connecting with her through a common interest, but you've increased your value by mentioning an aspect about your lifestyle that she may like to be a part of. Alternatively, imagine she's looking for a job as an accountant and you happen to know someone in this area. Mention that you have a close friend who works in the recruiting department of a big accountancy firm, and tell her you wouldn't mind introducing them to each other at some point. Not only could she talk about dreams of work in the future, creating a positive vibe through positive emotions, you can ensure she has a good reason to want to spend more time with you and get to know you better. So that's it. The pieces of the first impressions puzzle all put together. State of mind, answering, questioning, sociability and lifestyle. Remember SAQSL and practice bringing your good qualities to the fore. You'll create a positive, impactful first impression in just a few meaningful minutes, paving the way for many more interesting moments together. Thanks for watching. For For more dating and relationship advice, go to provenattraction.com, where you will learn how to crack the mystery of attraction.